morning, Michael.
Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning, everybody. This is Running Around Jerusalem, episode 8. We are here outside Jaffa Gate, as you may have noticed if you've been watching us before. We don't know who the president is. It's been raining. Michael, what are we going to see today?
Well, we are about to make our triumphal entry into the old city. This is what you all have been waiting for. We are calling this run 4 stories for 4 quarters. We're going to take a little loop through the old city and enjoy the ride.
Please subscribe to the channel, click the little bell so you can see when our next video is coming out. Watch us out on Facebook, coming at you Running Around Jerusalem. Let's go. Good morning, Michael, again.
Good morning, Daniel.
Okay, so we're running through Jaffa Gate. We know this, we've done this before, a couple of runs. So let's give a little bit of an overall idea of the old city and which area we're entering first.
Sounds good. So the old city, again, it's not the oldest part of Jerusalem, but nonetheless, it's the area that's surrounded by the walls.
Yes.
That's what we refer to as the old city. And it's divided into 4 quarters. Although the quarters aren't actually equal quarters.
Ah, the good old Jerusalem idea. It's 4 quarters, but they're not really quarters.
It's more like 4 areas where different populations live, I guess you could say. Now, just a word of overview, okay? We could stop every 5 seconds in the old city and have a story.
Yeah, but then it wouldn't be running around Jerusalem.
It wouldn't be running around Jerusalem at all. So what I want to try to do is I want to give everyone an idea of why each population is here and a little snippet into the lives of people who are here.
Right, we can always come back and fill in some more bits again.
Exactly.
On a different route, yeah.
The first one that we're going to be entering into now is the Muslim quarter. It is the largest of the 4, about 3/4 of the city and vast majority of the population. You have about 30,000 Muslims that are going to be living inside the Muslim quarter of the old city.
30,000, okay.
And right now what we're running through, and we're going to be very careful this morning because it's very slippery and wet.
Yes.
But this area is the Arab marketplace. A lot of you guys who have been through Jerusalem, you probably have walked down through here before.
And probably been offered something and negotiated for something.
Exactly. But we're here early in the morning. It's actually really cool to be here this early in the morning before things open up. Because you're talking about a city that's been lived in for 5,000 years. And we get to be alone with it. What's the obvious question if we're talking about the Muslims?
Why do Muslims live here? Why do they like Jerusalem? I don't know.
Yeah, why is this place important to the Muslims?
Okay, yeah, why is it important?
Let's start with why exactly the Muslims came here to begin with. And for that, we are going back to the time of Muhammad.
Okay.
To the right. To the left.
Okay. See, I have no idea where I am, guys. This is fine. I can't even see where I'm going, to be honest with you. Right, Prophet Muhammad in the Quran, story goes,
Actually, before we get there, I gotta show you this. Come this way with me.
Secret gem, guys, secret gem.
Now, right in front of us, what do you see?
A construction site, people living here.
Right, come into the light.
Yeah.
Not very pretty right here.
No.
But
well, they're rebuilding it.
Wait until you turn around, because this is what's really cool.
Turn around.
We're really in the courtyard of a 700-year-old hostel that was built here during the Mamluk period, which we're going to talk about later.
Come have a look, guys. Come have a look.
Look at the architecture. Look at the balconies here. Yeah. This is amazing.
A Muslim hospice was 700 years ago. Still here, the architecture as it was, even though being reconstructed a little bit.
Yeah, and obviously people living here today.
Unbelievable. Love it.
I love this. It's beautiful. There are tons of these khans all over. We're going to talk about why when we continue.
Right. So let's go back to what we were discussing. So you said we have a story of Muhammad from the Quran or not from the Quran?
So the interesting is part of this is from the Quran and part of it is from the oral traditions later.
Okay.
And the story goes that Muhammad wakes up and he is next to the angel Gabriel, who has this golden trait of righteousness.
Okay.
He puts Muhammad to sleep, reaches in, cuts out his heart, dips his heart into this golden righteousness,
Right.
puts him back in, sews him back up. Muhammad wakes up and he finds before him this winged creature with the body of a strong horse, the wings of a giant eagle, and the face of a beautiful woman. And he's told to take this creature, Al-Barak, and fly with it. He flies off to a place called Al-Aqsa. Not sure what Al-Aqsa is at the beginning. He goes up at this Al-Aqsa place, meets with the prophets in heaven, brings down the prayers for Islam, and then goes back. Later tradition has the place of Al-Aqsa, Jerusalem.
I see. And what does Al-Aqsa actually translate strictly to?
The farthest place.
The furthest place.
The furthest place.
And the furthest place was sort of mutually decided that that means Jerusalem.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Just like in Jewish tradition, we have oral law and we have the written law. So in Muslim, we also have the oral traditions and the oral laws.
Okay. So in terms of Islam, Jerusalem as a holy place ranked where?
Number 3.
Number 3. Okay.
So this is a place called the Cotton Market. The head of us, straight ahead of us, is actually a gate to the Temple Mount.
I love this architecture above me. It really is amazing. These skylights coming through. This is an incredible place.
We're actually going to turn around and go back there, but I figured we'd get a little bit closer here. You can see it's closed right now. It's a little early in the morning.
And so this gate leads me out onto
the
point
Temple Mount
that we just discussed.
Yes.
That's right in front of me.
Exactly.
Right.
The place where the Dome of the Rock is, the place where the Al-Aqsa Mosque is,
right.
That's the Temple Mount.
So we're going to climb with each other. Oh, we're going to kill each other. Okay.
And
so it's all this amazing architecture that I can see around me right now. So we're talking early Muslim period? You're pointing to the stairs, we'll go up the stairs?
You would think, we're going this way, that's right. You would think, however, the amazing thing is that the foundations, these arches and everything we see here in the Muslim quarter, not everything, but most of it is not from the early Muslim period. It's from a later time period called the Mamluk period, when Jerusalem was essentially the Siberia of the empire. This is the place where they sent people who were like officials in the government who fell out of favor and they wanted to get rid of them.
We discussed this in run number 2 or 1, yes, I remember.
Exactly, so it's funny that when does the Muslim quarter of Jerusalem get built up? During a period of time when this is not the focus. You send the people you don't want over here.
Right.
So how did that work? One of the guys, his name was Tankis, Emir Tankis, and he was a great official in the Mamluk Empire, falls out of favor, sent to Jerusalem in exile. Now, imagine you're Tankis, okay? You've got money, you want to leave a legacy, but you also know at any moment the government can take everything away from you. So how are you going to prevent that? How are you going to provide for yourself? How are you going to leave your legacy? And how are you going to provide for your children? And this is what happens during the Mamluk period. Number one is he starts building. Tons of building projects here in his new home, his new city, because he wants to leave his mark.
Did he build stuff outside the old city walls as well, or just exclusively inside?
Well, you're talking about during that time period, there was no Jerusalem really outside the city walls. Right. It was inside.
What kind of year are we talking about here?
We're talking about 700 years ago. We're talking about 1300s. Okay, so Tanki has built all kinds of building projects, institutions, and this is also where you get the concept of the waqf. Okay, a waqf is a religious institution, okay, but the way it works is, let's say I want to set up a waqf that is a trust for a madrasa, a Muslim religious school.
Yeah.
Okay, so you set that up. You have businesses also that help support that institution. So you've got your cotton market, like we were just in, and all the money from there is going to support these institutions so that they can stay up and running.
So it's like a philanthropic board.
Exactly, okay? Now, here's the thing, is that you're gonna set up yourself as the trustee of this board. You're gonna set up your children as the future trustees of this foundation with a nice comfy salary, all right? And that way, they're taken care of. Even the government is not gonna take anything from you because they're not gonna destroy these religious institutions. So during the Mamluk period, this is exactly what happens in Jerusalem, is that you get these ex-officials that come here. They want to protect their wealth. They want to protect their children and their family. So they set up all of these different waqfs and institutions.
So basically sell trust funds.
Exactly, and through that, they build up this entire city.
I want to come back and get a banana when we're done.
Okay, you can have a banana when we're done.
Okay, fine. They look nice. Okay. It's kind of, so the old city of Jerusalem, one of these world famous, internationally known, everyone knows what it looks like, is built up by a bunch of out of favor officials building up trust fund for their children.
In many ways,
It's hysterically funny.
This place looked a lot different 700 years ago.
Right.
And in fact, look, if anyone's ever been to the Western Wall tunnels, you notice those archways we were running under. This is all basically foundations that were built up because they wanted to build the Muslim quarter up on a higher level to butt up to the Temple Mount. So the foundations of this quarter are from that period.
So they raised up the whole plateau so they could be at central, like with the central height with the Temple Mount itself.
Exactly. If we're talking about setting your children up and passing down responsibilities throughout generations, I gotta talk about the oldest Muslim family here in Jerusalem.
Oh, okay.
The Nusaybahs. They have a very special role. Them and actually another one of the families, the Al-Husseinis, they're two guys who to this day are entrusted with a mission that has to do with the next quarter that we're coming up to, the Christian quarter. And that is, they hold the key to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. And every morning, these two families meet at the beginning of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and they unlock it.
So wait, I need you to slow down here. So we've got some church called the Holy, you said a word, I don't even know what you said.
Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
Right, and that key is held by the two oldest Muslim families that live in the old city.
Well, the oldest and another one that came with Salah ad-Din when he conquered this place from the Crusaders.
So pretty old as well.
Yeah.
Muslim family.
Yes.
Hold the keys to a church.
You got it.
You got to explain this whole thing. I don't understand what you're talking about.
As you notice from the people around us, as you notice from the signs like Christian Quarter Road,
it's kind of changing here.
We're changing. We've left the Muslim quarter. We're in the Christian quarter now.
Definitely the people's dress around us has definitely shifted significantly.
As we get up to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which is where we're on the way at the moment,
I see.
We got to go back because why is this place important to Christians? The Church of the Holy Sepulchre is not a church. It's the church, okay? We're talking about, for the majority of Christians, this is identified as the site of Jesus' crucifixion, death, burial, and resurrection.
In that site?
In that site.
I see.
2,000 years ago.
I see.
Okay, and the story goes that when Helena, the mother of Constantine, came here to Jerusalem in the 4th century. By the way, look where you're running right now. Look at these stones. See how it changed? This is some of the stones we're talking about, 2,000 years old stones here.
These stones?
These stones.
These are the old original ones.
Stones. Right?
Okay.
So when we talk about Jesus walking with the cross and going to the place where he's going to be crucified.
On that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Right, I see.
When Helena comes here in the 4th century to identify the spot that's holy to her, the spot where did Jesus walk? Where is he crucified? The early Christian community that is here is going to bring her to the spot where the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is, and that's where they're going to build the church.
And their tradition that it was that spot comes from just oral tradition handed down kind of thing?
Yeah, again, we're talking about an ancient tradition. Yeah. We're talking about only a couple hundred years after the death of Jesus. We're going to the left.
Left.
Okay, there would have been an early.
Guys, I have no idea where I'm going yet. I'll just follow him.
There would have been an early Christian community here, and it's safe to say she went to them, and they had a tradition of where that spot was, and she brought them, and they brought her there. We're going this way.
And that time even he didn't know where he was going. Here we go. Right, so it really, like, the whole architecture, the whole feel of the place has completely shifted around me. And it's important to note the old city is only, what is it, in size?
Only less than a square mile.
Less than a square mile. It's incredible that the feeling of the place shifts so dramatically as you move forward.
When is all this stuff from, okay?
Right.
So we talked about the original of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre being built 1700 years ago, okay? During the Byzantine period. During the Byzantine period, this place is going to boom.
I see.
All right? You're gonna have tons of pilgrims coming here. One of the most famous ones that we have that leaves an account is a guy named the Pilgrim of Bordeaux, who comes here in 333, okay? And they're gonna talk about their travels, but you have to imagine him and thousands of others. So during the Byzantine period, when the Christians control Jerusalem, they're gonna build this place up. We're talking about marketplaces like the Cargo, churches here, roads, institutions.
We're going to lower our voices a little bit, guys, because as you can see, we're actually walking into the church ground itself. Want to be respectful. So, Michael, I can see this is another good example, as we've seen in many of our videos, where different layers of construction, different stones, each part looks like it was shoved on top of the other. So the bottom layer is definitely the oldest, I would assume, Byzantine?
Well, the truth of the matter is that when it comes to the Byzantine Jerusalem, much of it was destroyed. Okay, this is before the Muslim conquest, before the conquest of the Persians that are going to go and crazy and destroy tons of churches, including the Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
Right.
So most of what we see right now is Crusader period.
I see.
This is the second time period that Christians are going to influence the architecture of this city, and really the foundations of most of what we see today is a Crusader period. We think about the Crusaders who came across Europe, raped, pillaged, came over here, slaughtered. But the Crusaders are what's going to bring Europe out of the Dark Ages. And it's all because of Jerusalem. During the time of the Muslim conquest, when the Christians no longer controlled Jerusalem, Europe goes into a Dark Ages. And it's going to take Jerusalem and the pull of this place
to inspire them
to bring them out. Now, why does that happen practically? Because it created international trade, international banking system that they didn't have.
Sure, let's not confuse it with economics. Let's just say Jerusalem solved it.
Go to the right.
Yeah. Okay, so I've seen the church. I've understood all about it. Very holy place. Now, you have to tie in the story. You told me 2 old Muslim families hold the keys to the church. Why do they hold the keys?
Well, if you think about it, what happens to Christianity over the ages? It splits and splits and splits, right? This place is still important to everybody. So how are they going to decide who gets to hold the keys or run the church? So first they're going to get into fist fights, then they're going to get into an all-out war, okay? So essentially, a lot of it has to do with to keep them from fighting each other. And this has to do, by the way, with any renovations that have to go on at the church in a common area.
So basically to keep the church objective, we'll give it to Muslims and they can decide for us. That's kind of good, I like that. I'm getting a significant feeling from, again, the people around me. Always a good way to know where you are. Just look at the people around you. That I think we're moving into a different quarter.
We are. We're about to get into the Jewish quarter.
Right. definitely Jews flying around me. Okay. Right, so you're kind of given, so we're entering the Jewish quarter, and you're kind of given a background of each quarter and why its people are kind of drawn to the quarter, we'll call it that. So, what are we doing here? I mean, Mike and I are both Jewish, if it wasn't very clear till now. So, what are we doing here? Why are Jews here?
You know, when we talk about Christian importance here, it's based here where the old city is. When we talk about Muslim importance here, it's all based on where the old city is. The Jewish connections place goes even far back beyond when this place was part of Jerusalem. And so I don't really want to go into the very beginnings of our connection to Jerusalem. Instead, there's another incredible story.
Okay.
And that is in 1967, when this place is again under Jewish control. They come here, and the Jewish quarter, which is where we are now, and really this has only been the site of the Jewish quarter since 1425, as far as we know.
Decent.
But nonetheless, the Jewish quarter is in ruins. 80% of it has been destroyed during the War of Independence 19 years earlier. The Jordanians never rebuilt it.
No.
Okay, now the Israelis come back and they want to repopulate this. They want Jews to live in the Jewish quarter again, which is natural.
Yeah.
But they have an incredible opportunity that's never going to present itself again. And that is, let's dig. Let's see where our history is. Let's see what we can find. And so, who do they put in charge of the digs after 1967? A guy named Nachman Avigad.
Okay.
And his role is essentially dig as fast as you can.
Right.
Before they rebuild everything.
Maximum results, minimum time.
And see what you can find.
Right, okay.
Everything we have archaeologically in the Jewish quarter, the stuff I've already talked about from the Byzantine times, the Cardo, the marketplaces. We passed something called the Broad Wall, okay, which is a wall from the First Temple period, okay?
First Temple.
First Temple, which means the outskirts of the city actually did get up to this point, okay, which most scholars did not believe before Avigad excavated here, all right? So all of that stuff that we take for granted today was all found. And the amazing thing is, you have to decide, when you dig in a place like Jerusalem, you could make the whole place into an archaeological park.
Right, for sure.
But we want it to be living. Go to the left.
Watch out, kids. Phil, kids.
We want it to be living.
On the one side, you want to rebuild your quarter. On the other side,
exactly,
you want to excavate and show your history. Right.
By the way, we're wandering around the Jewish quarter now, and there's all these different things that people miss. Like, for example, this spot right here.
Yeah.
You had people, 48 people, who had been killed in the War of Independence, who were buried here for 19 years. You know, who would have thought?
It is also important to add that throughout our journey of running around Jerusalem, I started off in a running top. I'm now wearing long sleeves, and now I'm actually getting wet. So, really, Michael, the weather's changed.
One of the first rains of the season. It's pretty amazing. Now, I just got to show you this. They have inscribed over here a prophecy from the book of... Whoa.
Definitely keep that in.
Yes, from the book of Zechariah that says, old men and women will once again be in the streets of Jerusalem. Children will be in the streets of Jerusalem. And you see it today. It's amazing.
Right. This was kind of a hopeful prophecy that eventually we will come back, and now look where we are. So you said the prophecy.
By the way,
kids, there we go, it's school. It's morning, and kids are off to their morning classes.
If we're going to talk about some of the people around, just, you know, in this little tiny area, you have someone who fought in the '67 war and then later built his house here and helped clean the place up. You have a guy who fought in the ¡73 tank battles in the north and then came and to be the ambulance driver in the old city, which is really cool because you have these little tiny ambulances. But look at this. I'm touching like historical things.
Things that are 1,000 years old.
Pretty amazing. Okay, let's go. You have a lady who collects spices from all over the world and makes the most incredible coffee liqueur you'll ever taste in your life.
Coffee liqueur, I definitely want that in the middle of a run, come on.
Yeah, you have a rabbi who sets up anybody to have Shabbat meals. If they have nowhere to go, he'll set you up for meals. You have the most incredible people that live in this area. You would never know these stories.
No.
Right? But this is part of your blossoming of Jerusalem.
Right. And Friday night dinner, as we spoke about other traditions, for our traditions, it's quite an important family getting together moment, friends and family, plenty of food, nice bottle of wine on the table standard.
You got it.
So it's pretty a big thing to be at a big Friday night dinner. We've done our 3 out of 4 quarters.
Yes.
What is the 4th quarter? Muslim, Christians and Jews?
The 4th quarter.
Buddhists. No? Hindus.
Armenians.
Armenians, okay.
Armenians.
All right.
So the obvious question.
What's their connection to the place?
Right, and who are they? So the Armenians, to the left, are the oldest nation to accept Christianity as a nation.
That's a good stake. That's impressive, that. Yeah.
Which they did around the year 301 CE under the influence of a guy named Gregory the Illuminator. Now, don't make a mistake. When I first heard his name, I thought it was Gregory the Eliminator. But we're not talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger, with a big gun.
Right, okay.
The Illuminator. Let's just get that right, people.
Making light.
Yes.
Not blowing people's up. Okay.
There you go, exactly. So they convert here, go to the right, to Christianity. They accept Christianity, and starting in the time when you have Byzantine rule here in Jerusalem, you'll have already a good portion of Armenian Christians that start moving over here and establishing a community here. Now, it's going to grow significantly during and after World War I, because you have people trying to escape the Armenian genocide from the Turks. This way. Sorry.
This way. Come on, guys. This way. He tells me after I've turned the time. Yeah. Right.
One of the most famous things you have in Jerusalem is these Armenian ceramics.
Yes, I've seen these. The blue paints.
And any street sign you see here in the old city,
yes,
were done by these Armenian families that have this tradition of the ceramics. Now, they weren't here for centuries and centuries, okay? They were brought here in the early 1920s by the British, because the British were looking for someone who could refurbish all the tiles on the Dome of the Rock. So they ultimately bring these Armenian families here because there's no artisan in Jerusalem or in this area, Palestine, that could do it. So they bring them in, they come, they stay, they open up these studios. We're going to the left.
It keeps telling me after the time. It's not my fault, guys. Here we go.
Now, any souvenir shop you go to, all right, around the old city or around Jerusalem, they have these blue and white tile things. Most of those are not really Armenian ceramics. No, there's only 2 families really left in Jerusalem that are part of that original ones. The others, what happened was that in 1969, all right, after the 6-Day War, is that you had Arabs from Hebron who started to notice that these Armenian ceramics are really, really popular, okay? So
they took it up as a trade.
So they started doing copies and fakes, but those are really called what we call Hebron ceramics. Okay. But they're not the original Armenian stuff. If you want the Armenian stuff, you have to go to one of these original families.
I see.
To get it. Now, how famous are these people? So the family, the Badian family, all right, the wife especially is this world-renowned artist who had an exhibit just on her stuff in the Smithsonian Museum in the 1990s. There's a story of when Teddy Kollek was mayor of Jerusalem, and he brought the artist Mark Chagall to come and visit the workshop of this family.
These are the Armenian flags, by the way.
Exactly.
These colours you can see above us.
You got it.
Yeah.
So Mark Chagall goes and visits this family, and he goes into the back where some of the people are doing the artwork on the tiles. He takes a blank tile and he starts to paint it, some kind of abstract painting,
right,
with orange. The woman who had the exhibit says to him, "Sir, don't you want to make your son brown instead of orange?" And everyone goes silent. Kollek almost has like a heart attack. He's like, she's critiquing world-renowned Mark Chagall.
Right.
There's silence. He looks at her and says, "You're right, ma'am. That's what we should do."
It's raining, it's pouring. We've done our run through the Old City. Today's run was about 4 kilometers. As you know, the Old City is quite small, so it's lots of going back and back and back. This was a great run.
This is great. And see, if you come here, you can make a good 5K run out of a little tiny area, and there's plenty to see. It's amazing.
There's plenty to see. We will be returning to the Old City to show more of the sights here. As we said, we could probably stop every 10 yards. Check us out on the Facebook, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you can see our next video coming next time. Running around in the rain in Jerusalem.
Have a good one. Stay dry.